All right, folks, we're back yet again. I'm Casey Green. Joining me is Darryl Adams, who is superintendent of the Coachella Valley Unified School District. Darryl, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We are here once again at the ASU GSV Innovation Summit, and the platform is Shindig. As a reminder to our audience, moment of housekeeping, if I may. It's interactive. You can do the usual text-based questions if you'd like, in terms of questions to Darryl as we talk about the experience at Coachella. Also, it's video, so we can potentially bring you in if you've got a camera and you've got a mic. Darryl, I want to talk about with you about some of the challenges. Okay, Coachella is not an affluent community. We hear the ongoing conversation in your districts throughout California and every place else. How do we do technology? We've got kids who need this stuff. Their families can't afford to buy this stuff. I heard a story, and you're going to have to tell me a little bit more about this. You're doing iPads. I understand you have a one-to-one iPad initiative. I know that in Los Angeles, where I live, they had some major problems. I understand yours is going well, but I want to go beyond that in terms of sort of how do you creatively solve a problem? And you put routers on school buses and parked them overnight in communities. Talk with us a little bit about that, so you could light up those communities and your kids could have access, not just for the couple of hours they were in school, but the added and important hours when they were at home.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Casey, for allowing me to join you today. And we're excited about what we're doing as far as providing access for students in our district. Our community voted to actually tax themselves to do this because we were not willing to wait on government to do it.
Right.
And so when we finally got the iPads for all of our students, preschool to high school.
I'm sorry, and how large is the district?
20,000 students, 20,000 students.
And so middle school, high school, elementary school, all students or most students?
All students. Preschool.
So 20,000 iPads.
Yes, sir, 20,000. Okay. Every student has their own individual iPad. Right. And of course, we had to rebuild the infrastructure at the schools to make sure we had broadband access. But we found out there was a homework gap when they went home, when some students were not connected. And so we have a lot of trailer home parks in our district because we are low socioeconomic. But we thought, we have 100 buses. Why not put routers on them? Students need to have access to and from school anyway. And why not park those buses in the trailer home parks and neighborhoods where there's no access to broadband? And so that's been working brilliantly for us. The data plan usage has quadrupled because those students now have access. They don't have to leave home and go and sit in the parking lot at the school site or at the district office. They now can stay home and access internet being at home. And it's really made a tremendous change for all of them.
You start talking about the kids. I want to talk about the teachers on the other part of this as well. 20,000, all your students, but also all your teachers. This is a qualitatively different way for everybody who's involved in this. Not just a matter of handing the devices to students and assuming that they can do it, but it's also teachers. It's about curriculum. It's about infrastructure. It's about assessment. Lots of moving parts in all that. Many teachers may have had the iPads, but maybe not the curricular materials to go with that.
Yes.
It's about digital curricular materials to not supplement, but to supplant, in many cases, the books. Again, fill that out for us, please.
Well, this is it's a school district plus community effort. So everyone understood we needed to truly transform the school district and the system. We can no longer teach that traditional 20th century way. And so when we decided to do our large pilot with the iPads, we had those teachers apply to be a part of that pilot. They had to fill out a 30-page application.
I'm sorry, 30 pages?
Yeah, 30 pages, and tell us what they're going to do with them, how they're going to integrate the technology into your curriculum. And so those became our superstar pilot teachers. There's about 120 of them, and they just did tremendous work integrating technology in the classroom, helping to bring parents along. They had our full support. The training went into, they had the first training and the first iPads. We didn't give them to the students first, unlike somewhere else. And so that made
Los Angeles.
Okay, our friends in Los Angeles.
That's on the public record.
Okay. And so, our teachers were ready before the kids were, and then we trained the parents and the students before they got their iPads. We wanted them to understand the importance of, reasonable, responsible use of these devices,
Right.
and we wanted parents to understand how it was going to work for their students' education. So with everybody on board, collaborating together, from our Board of Education to our administrators and leaders to our teachers union, classified union, and the entire community who voted 67% to do this, we were all on board working together to make sure that this worked. And it's been working brilliantly. That, along with the Wi-Fi on Wheels program, is working brilliantly. And we've changed our curriculum to include a college preparatory curriculum that will allow our students to go to a 4-year college in California. So in our state, that's what we call the A through G curriculum, a set of courses that you must take. And if the students don't have access to those courses, they have to go to a community college in other means. But we wanted all of our students to have access to that curriculum, and the technology has helped us to do that as well.
Where'd you find the curriculum? I mean, we talk. Digital is different than print.
Yes.
In terms of the materials, whether it's a first grade reading curriculum, a fifth grade science curriculum, mathematics in middle schools, courses in high schools, and then having that not just ported over in a PDF format to sit on a screen, but in fact to have added value, more interactivity, richer and deeper content.
Yes.
Did you build? Did you buy? Did you order? Was it customized? How did the teachers react to that?
Well, teachers were very important in the vetting process as companies began to become more digitized in their textbooks and in their curricular offerings. And so once our teachers and our staff were able to vet through some of those products and services, then we were able to partner with those who would allow us to really digitize our school system. And so I don't know if I could mention their names, but Apple has been fantastic with us in helping us implement the entire program and do the professional development. McGraw-Hill has been very important. They're now a learning science company. It was just beautiful to see them make that transition. Huffman Mifflin, Pearson, they've all helped us. Lexia is a learning program that's fully digitized. And so we work with so many who are now in the digital realm, and that's helped us to make the transition as well. We're all on board moving together.
I want to press you. It's not a matter of being digitized. Is there added value to the digitization?
Yes. It's more. One thing, you have mobility. You can do your work anytime, anywhere, and you have access. And so once the platforms and the books and everything are on your digital device, then you can go anywhere with it. You can do anytime with it. And so that makes a huge difference for our students and our families as well.
All right, we've got a question. I'm going to see if we can bring it up interactively from one member of the audience about putting the district on the map. If I can get some tech support for this, because I didn't get as much training as I should at this point. All right, actually, we're just going to bring this up on screen in text. What's been the most innovative move putting your district on the map? How did you get to be famous? Was it the Wi-Fi on wheels, or was the Wi-Fi on wheels and then some?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I think it's the collaboration, bringing the community together to collaborate. If we hadn't done that, we couldn't have done what we've done. But the Wi-Fi on Wheels program is, like I said, it has more legs than a centipede. That program, PBS, CBS National News, ABC News is coming out this week, Wall Street Journal. It's just amazing how this program has sort of moved us into the forefront. But our one-to-one initiative really got a lot of attention too, because this is the first time every district, that a district has given every student an iPad from preschool to high school. And it's all financed by the public, not by the government, by the public. And so that's really groundbreaking in itself.
That public financing would seem to break the usual rule that you don't use public money that has a 20-year repayment for a product that has a 3 or 4 year life cycle.
Well, the difference for us is we did not use all the money in that initial phase. So we only used half the money to build the Wi-Fi infrastructure, and we used some of that money to buy the iPads. So we have half of the money left. So it was $42 million. We used $21 million to build the infrastructure and buy the initial iPads. Now we have $21 million to last us the next 8 to 10 years as we refresh the iPads. But you need to have an educational technology division that can help maintain those operating systems, and you got to have students and families who will protect that device and get the life out of it that you need. And then you start to refresh the devices, but also sell those devices that are getting a little old before you have no value.
But Darryl, the other thing that strikes me from what you just said, you banked half the money.
Yes.
But it also means that you oversold. I don't mean oversold in the sense you didn't have a promise, but in the sense you were able to convey to a public that and not a wealthy one, that they would have to make a significant investment just beyond the first year startup costs. that you were able to convey successfully the long-term vision and get the long-term financial support. That's highly unusual when you look at the way tax levies are going down, in lots of communities, wealthy and not wealthy in the United States.
Yeah, that's the difference. I think that's the real key to all of this, is having true collaboration, true inclusion of everyone in this effort. And our parents believed in this. They knew that the system was not performing as it should be. They knew that there were some students getting it, more not. Yeah. And so they were willing to make that sacrifice. And they trusted us, and they still trust us. They are a big part of everything we do moving forward, and that's the difference for us.
I want to come back to the Wi-Fi on wheels. Typically, when school districts try to do this kind of stuff, how many bake sales can we have, and how many corporate doors can we knock on for contributions of used equipment? You had the school buses.
Yes.
Had to get signal, you had to get bandwidth, you had to get routers.
Yes.
Probably some security concerns as well in terms of parking those buses. How did the moving pieces come together?
Well, we always pilot whatever we do before we do it. And we wanted to make sure that we have to partner with that community, with the trailer home park community. Right. Where do you want the bus? Are you willing to, protect the bus, protect this internet? Yeah. Are you willing to, the parents agree, you want to turn it off at midnight, whatever. We all agreed that this is how we're going to do this.
So this is the old days of kids using flashlights to read under the covers. Now they're reading the reflected light with the iPads.
Yes.
And they're doing schoolwork, of course, at 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Well, the parents, they're on board with this 100%. So they believe in having that access, but they do want to monitor it and have the ability to shut it down. We found out overnight that sometimes the battery didn't have enough charge, so we put solar panels on the buses, and that's worked brilliantly. And now we've taken it another step. Instead of selling our old salvage vans and cars, we're putting routers and solar panels on them and placing them in areas, and they're stationary. So we have we kind of extended the program. Instead of selling those cars for $1,000 or whatever, use it for a hotspot, and you have access for those communities in those neighborhoods.
What about unintended consequences of the parents? I'm thinking, and I can perhaps make some appropriate or perhaps not so fair assumptions about low-income parents, some who've had maybe high school, many not. The kids as a catalyst for their parents, sort of lifting the parents' technology skills. Are you seeing a lot of, you have stories about that?
Yes. What we find is that our entire families are now learning and growing with the use of these devices. Some of our parents, we put Rosetta Stone on the parents. So 98% of our students are Latinos. So some of our parents do speak only Spanish, but now they have ability to learn English because they have Rosetta Stones on their devices. They're also learning, economic financial program applications that are available for them on those devices. So the device became a family device. President Obama talked about the Wi-Fi on Wheels program, and he talked about the extension of the access to the family now. Everyone's using that device, connected to the internet, learning, growing, and the entire family are benefiting from the program.
How long is the Wheels,
Wi-Fi on Wheels?
I'm sorry, Wi-Fi on Wheels.
Yes.
Been going on?
It's been going on since mid-2013.
Okay, so the oldest students would have been maybe 9th, 10th grade, two, three cohorts of high school students?
Yes.
Classes? What are you seeing in terms of the experience of your middle school students who are now rising into high school, and how they compare to perhaps their older brothers and sisters or cousins in terms of their academic experience and their academic preparation?
You know what? It has made the difference for all of our students. You can go down to preschool, elementary. You see students doing things you never thought that they would be doing, creating, building their own robots and having them dance, coding programs, reading programs, applications that are really taking, making education their responsibility now. And that's the key, I think, in the future. Personalizing education, customizing it, tailoring, whatever you want to call it. Once the student learns their learning style and their learning modality and what applications are available, then they can take control and responsibility for their own learning to a greater extent. I'm not trying to advocate that we don't need teachers, but they are more facilitators, guides by the side, curators of information, and hopefully they're learning alongside their kids, and that's making a huge difference for us. Kids are doing things we never thought they could do, but we hope that they would be able to do.
So I'm guessing that your phone, your voicemail and your email box is overflowing with queries that are coming from your counterparts at districts like yours, larger or smaller, but same set of issues.
Yes.
If I'm a superintendent someplace and I want to do this, or if I want to explore it, what are the three most important things for me the questions I have to ask if I want to go down this path, if I want to do what you've done?
Well, first thing you got to ask yourself is, why am I doing it? And it's a pretty easy answer to that one, because everyone should have the best quality education available and have access and equity to get information and to use the information and to communicate. The second thing is, how am I going to fund this? You need to have a grassroots effort behind this. Get the community involved, get the parents involved, and you will have an easier go of it. Of course, talk to your teachers union, your classified union, business leaders in the area. And once everybody is on board, it's going to be a lot easier thing. The next thing is professional development. You must have a very strong professional development program. We created our own based on the SAMR model, where we're training teachers and administrators and now parents on how to effectively use and integrate technology in the classroom. And that program has actually been trademarked because we were getting so many inquiries about it. The U.S. Navy has come to visit us, Ohio State University, dozens and dozens and dozens of school districts, and we happily share what we're doing, and we're happily learning ourselves. We will never stop. It's all about continuous improvement for us. How can we meet the needs of our students?
You had raised earlier the issue of preparation for a four-year college as opposed to community college. In California, the Cal State system and the University of California system share a basic set of standards in terms of a checklist. You need to have certain kinds of courses that are UC or Cal State eligible. Otherwise, students begin in community colleges. Here, that many perhaps in our audience don't know that the state master plan says the top 8th or 12% of students are UC eligible, the top third are Cal State eligible. The community college provides a different path to post-secondary education. You're sort of 2 or 3 years into this, so some benefit perhaps, but not the great lift that it might have been for the students who were in their last year or two of high school, but the middle school student goings out who are now in that pipeline with this process. What's your best guess in terms of what their access opportunities for a four-year institution will be compared to their peers who were in the early years?
Well,
that's a question that came from our audience, by the way.
Well, for us, all of our students entering ninth grade gets the A through G curriculum.
Okay.
That means every student graduating.
Was that the case before? Or
No, it was not the case. And it's still not the case in probably 95% of the districts in California.
Right.
And I have a problem with that, because you are now tracking kids into to status levels.
Right.
And I don't believe in that. I think every student should have an opportunity. You talk about closing the digital gap, we should eliminate the opportunity gap. Every student should have that A through G curriculum in California, the ability to go to a four-year school if they so desire. Then they should have wall-to-wall. We have wall-to-wall academies. Channel that student into what their passion is in life. They never have to work a day in their life. Schools become relevant. And so I'm fighting to get that point across and willing to talk to anybody about it.
I bet you do the good fight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Darryl Adams, thank you very much for joining us for this conversation. We are, it's impressive.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, we're going to take a very short break, and then joining us for the next conversation is Natasha Cochran, who is the Chief Strategy Officer for Social Sentinel, for a conversation about school and campus security.